Well, all right. James Ham wants famous.
What in the Sam Hill am I showing up to?
Oh, Sam Hill, things black people never say.
Even real quick.
Hold on, real quick. Andy Reid, we're gonna try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game. That's the attitude we're coming in with,
bro. What?
And you don't nobody need that.
Oh,
Andy Reid is gonna tickle your tonsil.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess that's one way to get back into the playoff conversation.
Watch out, Houston Texans.
You better beat the Chargers and maybe root for the Eagles this weekend.
Wow.
Goodness gracious. Real quick, listen to Dilo and Casey on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320, always live on the Odyssey app.
The
Where
Chiefs
tonsils with tonsils are tickled right here.
That's
here.
it.
Not
That's
over
it.
here.
That's it.
The Chiefs, they can get to 10-7. I don't think they will. Like they're gonna have to beat the Texans, Broncos.
I was gonna say they're gonna have to, yeah.
But say this is the whole premise of loser leave town. If they beat the Texans, and I think they'll get the Chargers at home, you got the Raiders. That's your 10-7.
Well, you got the other team on the schedule is the Titans.
Yeah, but if you get to 10-7, at that point, you'll need one team to lose 3 games coming up. That's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, that's why I said you're going to have to root for like the Eagles or something this weekend to beat the Chargers.
There is, I think Matt Mayoko said it last
maybe
night.
Indianapolis is that team too.
Matt Mayoko said it last night. There's only been one team in the history since they extended the playoffs and the schedules, one team to not make the playoffs with 10 wins.
Maybe Cleveland? Or no, it was New England.
Is that who it was?
Wasn't New England the year they missed the playoffs 11-5 or something crazy like that?
Oh, yeah. Shout out Matt Castle. Chad Pennington for the win, and then he threw 3 interceptions to the Ravens. And
so
Jesse was
and this is what I've done with the 49ers. I put the magic number at 10. You get to 10, you should get in. Maybe this is one of those years where you don't at 10.
I don't know.
But you get to 10, you should get in.
I don't know if the Bills and Chargers do, but the Colts got the Jags, the Seahawks, the Niners, the Jags again, the Texans. There's 3 losses.
Jags might not. The Colts might not win another game.
Yeah, they're starting to get real hurt right now too.
How is he playing with a fractured fibula?
I don't know.
Daniel Jones,
because he's Indiana Jones. Shout out James.
Damn you, Jesse.
You're gonna be Indiana at home in a second.
Okay. So did you say what was the 10-win thing you said a second ago?
Matt Mayoko yesterday. I'm quoting him. I didn't come up with this. He said, I believe it's since, and the Patriots wouldn't fall in this now that I think about it. Since they extended, they got one more playoff team.
Got it. Okay, so we're got
only
you.
one team has not made the playoffs with 10 wins.
Understood.
Because that was almost about 15 years ago, right?
The extra playoff team?
No, the Patriots.
Oh yeah, that
2008
was,
to be exact.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. It's crazy. 2008 was a long time ago. As we welcome in James Ham. The great part about this conversation that we're having, James Ham, is we don't have to have any conversation about the Kings making the playoffs because they are Las Vegas Raiders territory. They couldn't be further away from the playoffs than they are now.
Yeah, they're talking. I mean, we're looking at how high in the lottery they can go. I mean, this team is struggling. I think the biggest disappointment for me is that, we talk so much about the schedule and how difficult the schedule was and how when they got done with the first 18 or 19 games that it was going to be much easier. And then they go and just like don't show up for 3 games. So like really, really difficult against, soft spot in your schedule. And so now you are who you are at this point. Because again, I think we would all feel a lot different about this team if they were like 8-13 versus 5-16, but that's where they are. It's tough.
Sorry, I was listening to you, James, and it is tough. Didn't see this coming, but I just saw the notification that Malik Monk was assessed a $2,000 fine for flopping last night, and they have a link to the play where he. Hey, flopped. I don't know if you remember when Zach Edey kind of cleared him out late in the game, and Malik got the offensive foul call or whatever. Yeah, big time flop. Almost snapped Levine's leg in half with how he flopped and fell into Zach Levine's leg.
So he flopped, got the call, and he gets fined.
Yes.
It feels to me that
Yes.
the officials should be fined when they assess a foul for a player who flopped.
It also feels like maybe the league did not hear his post-game comments where he went through the alphabet of profanity. Just
maybe they thought we'll only fine him for one thing.
There you go. There you go.
Hammer, you had a pretty strong. Actually, let's go back to just real quick to Wednesday, because you talked about it just not showing up for 3 games after winning back-to-back games. DeMar even getting asked the question about, hey, could a game like this, the game against Minnesota, could this catapult into something for you guys? Could this be like a turning point? He's like, man, you hope so. You need moments like this. And then you get to Wednesday, and James, we couldn't have been 5 minutes into that game before I think a lot of us were like, well, this is over.
Yeah.
It didn't even stretch into they couldn't win a third in a row. It was like 1 quarter or halfway through the quarter. It was like, well, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it catapulted them right into the sun is what it did. Like, I don't even understand what exactly happened to this team. You show up for a couple of games and you look really good against really good teams. And then, again, your schedule lightens, and whether Phoenix is for real or not, they're missing like 3 rotational players. So it's not like you had, like they were at full strength or anything. And like, for whatever reason, this team just doesn't seem to, I don't know if they want to play together. Like Malik talked about it last night, just pass the ball. And it seems like such an easy thing, but it's not for this group. It wasn't that long ago they had the game where they had 32 assists, and we're like, that was what they're looking for. And then all of a sudden you go through a game where they don't have a single assist in the first quarter. Last night's game where they took 8 3-pointers in the whole first half, and that's just a lack of ball movement. It's just really, it's a tough watch. And, I after the game on Wednesday, that's when the fan went crazy on Russ and Zach LaVine, right? And gets escorted out of the building. Like Zach was pretty heated after the game, and Sean and I got him in the locker room, and I thought he was pretty straightforward, pretty honest. But also, like, afterwards, he and I had a conversation, and he was just like very clear, like, we haven't quit. We just don't know what we're doing wrong. We're missing something. And if we had like the ability to just, flip a switch and be awesome, we would, but we haven't figured out what that switch is. And it's just really tough for them as a collective to look around and know what's happening and know what's going wrong. And it feels like every game is becoming repetitive and sort of the same thing. And they feel that, but also they're grasping at straws. They're trying to figure out what's happening. And they just, again, as a collective, they just haven't been able to stop the opponent from having these runs.
Amber, I'll ask you a question. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I think that the question I'm about to ask you is unfairly what's going on, but I'll let you answer it yourself. Do you think Zach LaVine is the poster boy of everything that's gone wrong with the Kings in the last 12 months?
No, I mean, I think he takes the blame for sure, because he's the guy that you got in return for De'Aaron Fox. But I don't think that Zach is doing anything. Like, are there nights where he's not getting enough shots? Yeah. Are there nights where, he's not doing things that you would hope that he would do, like being aggressive and all that? But look, I think even a scorer like Zach is finding that if your teammates don't pass the ball to you, if your teammates don't do things that help you get open too, then you're going to have a difficult time scoring. And this is something that, we've seen from Keegan. It's stuff that we've seen from other players that come through Sacramento, where it's like all of a sudden they just don't look like themselves at all. And like, I don't think that there's a way to really break it down. I think Zach LaVine has played really good defensively, like compared to what I've seen from him in the past. I think when he has taken shots, it's not horrible, and like, look, there's never been an NBA player that tried to miss shots. And if there is, he got caught for betting on Prize Picks or whatever it is, and did it intentionally. Like, Zach LaVine is a ball player. He's a 2-time All-Star. He's a guy that knows that he can score with the best of them. And it's just something's missing with this group. It's tough.
And my mistake, I probably asked that the wrong way, but I do think he is the poster boy for Kings fans for everything that's wrong. I think it's unfair to everything that you just said. I think he's out there trying a lot of the times. I think he's playing better defense than people gave him credit for, and he's trying on both ends. But I said it earlier, Hammer, I think he just needs to leave. Like, he doesn't need to be here because he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. People already have preconceived notion of who Zach LaVine is, and they blame him for everything that's gone on in the last 12 months. And yeah, I don't see how that's turning. Like, people get mad. Zach LaVine ain't playing no defense. You said it. Doug said it. Zach has said it. Like, no, I'm working hard out there. And if Zach will play defense, this will be different. Bro, he out there working. But it doesn't matter to the general public and to the Kings fans. They blame him for everything that's going on right now. I think he needs to leave. I think those people would agree for different reasons, but I think he needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, do I think that, like, he'd be better off somewhere else? I do, but that's just because that's the way this is turned. Again, I don't think it had to be this way, but I do think that, again, the pairing of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan proved before they got here that couldn't work, and they're here in Sacramento together, and it's not working. And so, like, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, like, this was a bad match from the beginning. And, like, look, if they would have at some point, because you got to remember that, like, Zach LaVine rumors were happening for like 2 years before he got here. And it was even the year before where there was a huge amount of talk about the Kings getting Zach LaVine to pair with De'Aaron Fox. I think that's as big a problem as anything else. Like, if you had a set star level point guard at this point that's doing his thing and setting up, you have a dynamic backcourt that can score 50 a night, that would have been different than what we're seeing right now. It's just a bad mix of players together. And again, I don't even blame any one person at this point as far as, like, on the court play. I don't think that there's enough evidence of one player being so egregiously bad that it's all their fault. It's just a combination of the group, like we talk about this all the time. You can get a bunch of ingredients to make, whatever it is you want to make, but you get one bad ingredient and it can really make the whole thing taste bad. And that's kind of what I'm watching. I'm just watching something that is, like, ill-suited and doesn't work at all, and that's why changes have to be made. And whether it's now or it's the end of the season or whenever you can do it, this thing needs to be blown up as much as possible.
James, you did not think this team would be very good entering the season. Did you think it would be this bad?
I didn't think it would be this bad, but I've told you guys so many times that, like, when you get to a certain level of, oh, this isn't going to go well, it doesn't take much for this type of thing to happen. Like, the chaos, the drama, it's already set in. And that's something that, like, you always hope that they can avoid. And, if you can keep all the noise on the outside, that's one thing. But, like, this group can't, they're just, whatever's happening here is breaking their spirit. And I didn't think it would be like a 25 win team, but if we're talking about, I think I put them at 36 wins, and I was even a little hesitant with that because that was a number I had before Keegan got hurt. And so I thought the number would probably go down from there. But the difference between, like, a 33 win team and a 28 win team really isn't that much. And this team still has, a chance to have a spot in the schedule where they figure some things out and they start rolling a little bit. But I mean, this team is
I don't think it's the schedule, man. I think it's them.
No, I think so too. Yeah. I mean, this is a sub 300 win percentage team at this point. Like, this is bad. So
I had to use the internet because I'm not good at this stuff. This is the team that's on pace to like 19 to 20 wins. That's insane.
Oof.
That is gross. Like 19 to 20 wins, really. There's a 20 win drop off. 20 win drop off. Man,
that's crazy.
Man,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, James, I talked about earlier, we were on the handoff, and I talked about the whole thing of like Maxime Renault, Nick Clifford, playing time. We got into it, about that, and I was just like, kind of like, yes, whatever. Like, if you want to play him, I'm not arguing against that. If it's Zach LaVine and all those other guys, I'm not arguing against that either. And then we were talking, me and Damian were during the show, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't care because they all can go. Like everybody here. I'm Scott Perry. Keegan might be able to stay. I like Malik Monk personally, so that's probably, he's safe with me because of that. But there ain't nothing redeemable here in Sacramento. Soon as I can, I'm getting rid of everybody. Is that too dramatic?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I understand the sentiment. I do. And, like there's clearly no one who should be untouchable. And if there is, it would be Keegan and then nothing else. Like, I like Nick Clifford, and I think he can be part of something down the road. I like Reno, and I think he can be part of something down the road. I haven't given up on Keon Ellis, and I think he can be something. And then I would kind of kick the tires on keeping Precious Achua as well. Like, I think Precious has played really hard, and
I really like the way that he's played. And he's what,
26,
25?
26. Yeah. Yeah. The thing about Precious is, we talk about, like, in the past, I'm always looking for this style of player that so many other teams have and the Kings don't. And, the Naz Reeds, although Naz is such a good 3-point shooter, but, the Brandon Clarks, the Jared Vanderbilts, like these guys that, they play with force, they push you around. Even like a different version is like Montrezl Harrell when he was in the league. The Kings, like, they just don't go get that guy that pushes his way and is physical and does all that stuff. I think him, like the advanced numbers on him and Keegan Murray as like a 2-man combo up front are really, really good. I would like to see, again, if Max Reno can develop and become more of a stretch 5, having a guy like Precious that can go inside and hit people would be great. I think he's a guy that I would try to keep around at least for a couple of years while you're growing everybody else. He's a good dude. He's a good teammate. He's funny, he works really hard on the court, and, he's doing the dirty work for you. So yeah, I like Precious. So like those 5 guys, if you're going to like start over, they're not all 5 of them are people that I would keep around forever. But I certainly would like to see where it goes with Neek and with Max and even with Keon, getting more minutes and just kind of start fresh. But, the NBA just doesn't work that way. Getting rid of monstrous contracts is nearly impossible. And the Kings have, 2 of them that are like gigantic and are borderline albatrosses at this point. And I just don't know how you build this thing out over the next year or two until you start getting to the end of Domas's deal, or you are done with Zach's deal. And it's just kind of tough because I don't think it had to be that way. It's just kind of the way that it's worked out. And I don't know that you can get this thing back on its rails.
They can all go.
Well, maybe that winds up being something that's happening. The question is, can they all go? Can you move these guys? Like we talk about, oh, you can trade. Yeah, you know what? Fine, trade Zach LaVine. Yeah, you know what? Trade DeMontis Sabonis. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter. The desire to trade somebody might be a lot more difficult than the actual ability to trade somebody. And Hammer, it seems that there's a lot of conversation going on right now about Zach LaVine and his future, and would he potentially decline an option or his player option to sign a longer deal with a new team, with a team who is interested in acquiring him between now and February? Would they take something like that into account to keep him on their team further? It just feels like the dumpster fire that has become this season that has become this season for this organization has now led to endless speculation about the future of, those high priced players that you just talked about a second ago.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, at some point you're going to have to pull the trigger on something. And I've never been someone who says, hey, just like make a trade to make a trade. You got to make a trade because this thing's stinking. And you need to get back to a point where, you have a future. Because right now, that's the biggest, I think, dark cloud for everybody is that, you only have one draft pick coming up. Well, you only have one first round pick. I don't think they have a second round pick either. But you got a 2026 pick. And like, how fair is that? That like all of your hopes and dreams are pinned on, whether you can land a superstar with the whatever pick you have in this coming draft and build around that player, and then maybe whatever's left of the rest of this group. I'm just so frustrated that this thing went wrong like this so quickly, and that so many people are to blame for it, and having their fingerprints all over this. It just really, to me, it's such a bummer because none of this had to happen. And the only reason it did is because it's in Sacramento and this is what happens. And so it's really frustrating.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where, I try to look at what I think the outlook of this franchise is, man. And it feels like it's going to be cold for a while. Like it feels like Scott Perry does have the mindset of, I'm going to strip all this down. I'm going to strip it all down, and we are going to start damn near like an expansion franchise. And it's going to be cold for a while, I believe, unless some things change or he gets, aggressive and can bring some quick fixes in here. It feels like it's going to be cold for a while around here.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think we've all seen the video of the guy yelling at DeMar and the guys, but he also yelled at Scott Perry. And that's something, that I think might have been a little bit of an eye opener for Scott. Like, I know it's such a bummer that when you're a new GM and you're coming in, you're trying to clean things up, the first thing you do is ask for patience. But, when you're looking at Pete D'Alessandro and, Vlade Divac and then Monty and Wes and now Scott, and everybody asks for patience, it's like, man, that's over a decade you're asking for patience. And so that word it's got a whole bunch of new meanings. And people don't want to wait around and hear it again and again and again. And it might be someone new who's asking for it, and it might even be logical for them to ask for patience. But it still doesn't feel good to a fan base that has got one playoff appearance since 2006. And it really, like, what are we being patient for? And here's the magic question. If you're asking for patience, are you going to show that same thing? Are you going to choose a path and stay on that path and actually show the patience that you're asking for? Or are you going to show that for a year or two, and then you're going to have someone else ask us for patience again? And that's a problem, because we just keep getting stuck in this same stupid loop. And it's like I get it. A new GM, he should have the ability to change everything and to, tear it down. And, but I think Scott is quickly learning that, number one, nobody wants to hear patience at all from him or anyone else. And that's why a fan yelled at him. But also, like, on top of that, like, there's a lot of work to do, and it is some major league ditch digging that they have to do to get out of this. This is not a good situation. And, again, you want to be the guy who comes in with these pillars and all that stuff. It's like I said in the beginning of the season, It's really, really difficult to ask people to live by these pillars when they're not long-term answers and they won't be here. And so what do these players have, especially a lot of the veteran players, why are they buying in? Tell me what the buy-in is.
We'll come back. We're digging ditches here with James Ham. And this just might be our life for a little while. Digging ditches with James Ham. It's actually the new segment. If you'd like to sponsor it, please contact someone in our office. I don't know what our phone number is, but you can call 916-909-1320. In the meantime, we'll come back and talk more Kings basketball with our insider from the Insiders. It's James Ham here with Dealing with KC on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320.
The Kings are now up to number 5, top 5 pick. And they got them taking Nate Emmett.
That's who I was hoping for. That's
interesting thing about him is he's like, he looked good. He looked like a good ball player, but the book on him is a little raw. Going to take time to develop.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, you can't just keep drafting like 22, 23-year-olds. Sometimes you have to take a gamble on the raw talent. And then again, if you don't have the infrastructure in place to bring that player along, what are you doing? Like, again, I think Doug would be really good with a young roster. But like, is he going to get that opportunity? And I don't know the answer to that. I look at the way the young players are playing when they do come in, and I look at their advanced stats, and they're telling me that they're listening and they're doing what Doug is asking. The other guys are, again, just a group of individuals. It's tough.
I like Michael Brown better. I like Nate. Nate can go. He's a hooper, but I'm gonna go with the point guard to start my franchise. In this case, Darren Peterson is who I would go with. And I'd go with AJ ahead of both Nate and Michael, but they'll be gone.
Hey, cool, Raul. I totally agree. A young team needs vets, but they need vets that understand that they're there to usher in another generation of Kings. Like, again, this contrary to what I've thought in the past, I think Russell Westbrook can be one of those guys that you bring in a young player and he works with and, takes him under his wing and shows him how to play hard and everything else. I like Russ talked to Max Reynaud and said, hey, like, this is how, like, let's show you how to score at the NBA level and, help them go off for those 19 points. Like, there's a way to get this team back on the right path. But it can't be with some of the players that are currently here.
outside of him saying thanks, but no thanks. I could absolutely see Russell Westbrook being here next year.
Yeah.
Like as a Scott Perry guy, probably not in his current starting role, but I could absolutely see him being around. Should he feel that's something he wants to do.
Yeah, I haven't started doing my draft prep on all these young guys. I kind of want to have a bigger, like, sample size than 8 games or 10 games, whatever they're at right now.
Yeah.
We're coming back, Hammer.
Yeah.
No, that's great. We were talking about the draft during the commercial.
Oh, yes, that time.
It's wonderful.
It's that time. It's December 1st, so it's a little bit more acceptable now. December 1st.
Start scouting, everybody. Some of you already have. Salute. Oh, Will Z, if you're listening, you got to start your your draft prospects articles early this year, just as James does. Now would be a great time to become a subscriber over at the Kings Beat. You can get your you can get your draft breakdown sent to your email box.
Right there, man. The draft power rankings. Do we have that? Draft tiers.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's Kyle Matson. Like it'd have to be the Kings Beat featuring Kyle Matson to get the draft tiers out there. Weird kind of schedule note, Hammer. There's only 2 games this week for the Kings. One in Houston on Wednesday and one on Saturday in Miami. I don't know, man. Maybe practice helps.
Or maybe just spending 4 nights in Miami. I don't know. Get away from the game for a minute.
That'll go great.
South Beach flu? We'll
could
take
possibly go wrong?
No, it's just perfect.
The Kings went 20 years without winning in Miami? Not quite, but they went a long time without one.
Yeah, they're getting in. They're flying out of Houston Wednesday night. They will be in Miami at the midnight or later. And then they plan on
time in Miami. That's like they're getting in just in time.
They're not leaving until Sunday, I believe, from Miami. So good for them. To be honest with you, maybe getting a break, maybe
Miami is
stepping away is a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to tell you, watching Zach LaVine say, if we could just knock on the wall here and come up with a solution, we would. We would just fix it and we would be right back on our way. He's like, we're struggling to figure out. And so I don't know. To me, it's just a weird situation, and maybe a couple of days in Miami is just what the doctor ordered.
A couple of days where the temperatures will be 82, 80, and 82.
Well, I know they're gonna like that.
That Saturday night will be tough. There'll be a low of 70 degrees.
Get your parkas out. Ooh, can't be mad at that. I've liked the cold.
That team's going to lose that game by 72.
They're going to run them out of the building. That's what they do. They're just going to run them out of the building.
Yeah. So that's just kind of the quirk of the week after seeing them play so many basketball games in a row. Just a couple of here this week. Hammer, you mentioned a couple of times Devlin Carter, the fan who got into it with Zach LaVine courtside after that disastrous game against Phoenix on Wednesday. What is your thought on that type of reaction and interaction between fan and athlete?
I don't tell people how to fan, but look, that's not fanning. There has to be some basic decorum. You don't get to yell and berate an NBA bench during a timeout in the middle of a game. Chanting is one thing, making some smart aleck comments, that's fine. A little bit of jeering here and there, but aggressively yelling at an NBA bench, because if it's one person that does it and they don't get dragged out of the building, and then the next time there's 2 or 3 or 5 or 17,000, now you've got yourself in some trouble. And so I'm not big on giving a platform for somebody. I get it. People are frustrated. I get it. He spends a lot of money. But at the same time, that's not civilized NBA basketball arena behavior. And again, I get it, you're frustrated, we're all frustrated, us covering the team, you're frustrated watching what you're watching, but there has to be some sort of basic understanding that these are human beings. And again, it doesn't matter how much somebody makes or how long they've been in the league, and there has to be some standard that you have to live by within the walls of the arena. And again, if you want to yell and scream at your TV, that's one thing, but yelling and screaming at players like that, to me, it's just not acceptable. and so again, I'm sure he's got his point across as a fan who spends a lot of money. But that just my own opinion is, I mean, even letting him back in the building after, just like the next game was even a little bit sketchy. Like sometimes you need a timeout, and Russell Westbrook is somebody who for years has asked security to remove people from the building. Like he's had no problems doing that in the past, but seeing something like that where it's like super aggressive at the bench, like right there, that's it. Just again, I can't have that happen in the arena.
You said the perfect word. I thought him when you talk about decorum. You know what I mean? There's a certain level of I don't know, like me personally, there's a certain level of respect for the craft that wouldn't allow me to do those type of things. I'm not telling anybody what to do. Once you, like you said, fan how you want to fan or whatever. But me personally, man, it's just a level of respect for the show that's going on and what's going on with those players that, it's not really my style. It's not how I'd go about things. Now, I come from the era, I come from the culture where, if I'm courtside and it's definitely if it's the opposing team, once again, not disrespecting anybody, not calling anybody out of their name or cursing at them, but, it's one of those, yeah, let's go. Hey, sit down on that, Keon. Yeah. Like stuff like, yeah, we talk like that or anything like that. But as far as, the way that went down and the way I saw some of the stuff go down on social media and all this other stuff, it's just, I don't think it's cool. Like, I don't think it's cool. Once again, you said decorum. I said a certain level of respect for the profession of what's going on. I think sometimes we lose that because we're upset about our team or our parlay or the fact that now we have a voice because of social media. We just kind of say anything. And I said earlier, Amber, I'm not saying that the people that did that think that what I'm about to say is okay, but that's a gateway to the things that we saw, the comments that were left on Zach LaVine's wife's page. When you say it's okay to yell at this guy on the court, oh yeah, well, I'm about to take it a little further. I'm gonna go yell at. It's funny for me to say go play defense on his wife and kids page on Instagram. Like, if you just did all that from the start, maybe none of that kind of stuff will happen.
Yeah, I think just people are empowered right now, and they just want to say whatever they want. You remember with Luke Walton a few years ago, there was a fan who, like, the building got really quiet, and he screamed something at Luke. And like it was caught on the mics, it was caught on the broadcast, everyone heard it, and it was like, oh no, like a fan berating Luke Walton. That fan literally called me over and said, hey, like, can you pass along a message? He's like, I just apologize. I lost my cool. I was screaming and yelling. And next thing I know, like the whole building got quiet and I was still screaming and yelling. And so it got picked up everywhere. And he's like, I feel really bad. I feel bad for Luke. I want to apologize. Can you pass along an apology? And it's like, yeah, that's fine. But like in this situation, it's almost like we're like glorifying what happened. Like, you can be frustrated, you can be angry, go put out a bunch of strongly, all caps tweets if that's what makes you feel better about it. But, you don't go into somebody's work and berate them like that. And that's just my opinion.
You're both right.
Thank you. Clip that.
However, there wasn't a Kings fan out there that was going, man, he shouldn't have done that. They were going like, I don't know what that brother's saying, but it looks like he is speaking for me.
Yeah.
and whether we're okay with it or not, the fact is, like, I think that unfortunate, I wouldn't want to be overly dramatic, but it is unfortunate for all parties involved. That unfortunate incident is a perfect reflection of the relationship between this fan base and this particular Sacramento Kings team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I don't know how this team became so unlikable, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are players on this team that are very, very likable people and very likable NBA players. But as a group, this team has become unlikable. And, I just, it's tough to see because, I mean, I've covered some horrible teams, some teams that, again, I've talked about this in the past, but my first 2 years, the Kings traded for players that were injured and were never going to play so they could get to the salary floor. They traded for Sam Cassell so they could get to the salary floor. They traded for Marquise Daniels. They traded for Jason Terry. All of these players just so they could get to the salary floor, the basement. $58 million teams that when other teams are running $80 to $100 million teams, like that wasn't fun to cover a team that just didn't have talent. Like the first team I covered, 7 guys were out of the league within the first year of that team, of that team wrapping up. I mean, guys like, Antoine Wright and Luther Head and Darnell Jackson and Pooh Jeter and Dante Green and Hassan Whiteside before he got back into the league like 3 years later. Like even Samuel Dallenberg. Did Dallenberg even play after he left the Kings? I don't know. But like just the way that team just had no talent, that's one thing. This team here has a ton of talent. And I think the one thing that we'll keep bringing up here is that this is a blue collar town. And if you don't act like you're putting everything out there and you're not fighting, then they see it. They see sort of the fake hustle. They see the lackadaisical way that you handle the ball and throw it out of bounds. And, just like they see it. And you want your fans to be visible and to be like, on top of your team and, love your team and cheer for your team. But you also have to represent them. And I think that might be what this particular group has done is that they don't represent this city in the way that people in this city believe basketball should be played. And so I get the angst and the, frustration from the fan base. But I also think that there's a way to handle that and a way not to handle that.
Do you think, I'll ask both of you guys this, do you think this is the last incident we see like this from this year with this particular Kings team?
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I don't want this.
But it's so early.
Yeah. It's not even Christmas, man.
So early.
It's December 1st.
People are at their wits' end already.
Yeah.
And the one guy who did it, let's not act like he's not being celebrated here. Like,
well, see, I think a part. You're right, Hammer, but I think a part of the byproduct, he's the first. Like I don't know that like the second guy to walk on the moon doesn't really get any love.
Yeah, there probably has been other people who have puked in the building, but they're not puke guy. They're not. That's not who they are. Yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
But there's to your point though, there's a good amount of people that, to your point, James, that don't think he did anything wrong. Like don't see anything wrong with what he did.
Sure.
And
but let's have them sit at their place of employment and have someone disagree with something that they think that they're doing wrong and have them yell at them like that.
Yeah, you're right. They don't see it that
way.
Well,
Kenny does that on Twitter.
Plus, I saw Scooter talk about it earlier. They got that whole mindset of I pay for their salary, which is all right, man.
No,
like your ticket prices absolutely go towards that. I don't give you the right to talk to anybody like that, just because you see fit. So like I said, I hope it doesn't happen, but I only asked that question because it is so early. And to James's point, a lot of people don't think there was anything wrong with what happened. I said earlier, I don't think Devlin said anything disrespectful. He voiced his opinion. I thought I wouldn't do it, but I thought he was within bounds initially. All the stuff afterwards, later on, I thought that became a little too much. But the initial statement that was reported that he said, I don't He was well within his right. Zach wasn't within his right to say what he said back. A lot of people thought all the theatrics and everything afterwards is perfectly fine. And that's where I kind of disagree. And I thought that was a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are yelling at players all game long. That's not it. It's, again, during a timeout, addressing a team from a very close location where all of a sudden you have somebody who has lost their cool and yelling at you. And, again, like as a grown man, Zach LaVine doesn't have to take that from anybody. And that's why security stepped in and removed him from the building. So, yeah, it's just tough. Again,
I want to ask both of you guys too, because I'm not sure how this works. Are the people that sit closer, I don't know if held to a higher standard or held to different rules or a code of conduct? Is that different? Is that why they have those little cards on the?
I think it's because
they
it's in earshot.
Yeah. So they can't, like a guy in section 220.
Yeah, those cards
start
right.
cursing.
Right.
Yeah, they're not up there.
Well, yeah, like that becomes the discretion of the person working section 220. The those cards, the Golden One Center can lose discretion on that, and it becomes the NBA. It's like, hey,
well, the NBA's logo is on those cards.
Yeah, it's the NBA who could come along and say, hey, you've got to get out of here, or you have to go this way or that way or whatever.
Because there's people down there that work for the NBA.
Yep.
Not just beyond the Kings.
Yeah, there are people you talk to every day that work for the league and not the team.
Yeah, and they can say, "Excuse me, Reggie, this guy needs to go."
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, actually, no, they don't do that. They say, "Reggie, come with me. I'm taking this guy out of here."
Yeah.
And Reggie will say, "Let's go."
Let's go.
I've been with Reggie. He's been throwing people out of buildings I've been in for 20 years.
Reggie gonna be like, "Let's go, blue."
No, that's not what he would say. Boy, you gonna get a talking to. You gonna get a talking to when this road trip is over. Yeah, he is not putting up. Reggie might call and cuss you out. Reggie gonna treat you like Devlin did Zach. Are you crazy?
Reggie said he was gonna call today too. I said, "Don't be calling here. I hang up on you."
Reggie ain't never called before.
Don't call up here today.
He ain't never called before.
You better get that little break.
For those that don't know, Reggie works the tunnel where the Kings come out, but he doesn't work like out on the court. He works like on the inside part. Yeah. He's been at the Golden One Center forever. He used to work sidelines when I was out there.
I know he works sidelines.
20 some odd years. I've known Reggie since 2002. Yeah, I've known Reggie since 2002.
He's a big Ohio State fan, so we talk every time.
He is a big Ohio. He just got a new watch.
I know, James. Yeah, I know, James. He got the stupid ass watch. I know.
Got that bling.
He showed everybody.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
A great dude. That's my man.
Yeah.
Man, I guess the prevailing. I don't know if it was Brendan. I can't remember who it was, but someone tweeted the Sacramento Kings always prove it can actually get worse. And maybe that's this is pretty bad.
These boys went viral Thanksgiving weekend. That was everywhere. Definitely was like you said, complex music.
Yep.
Was like, check this out, everybody.
Kings fans losing their mind right now.
Yeah. I don't blame them. I don't.
No.
Like, it's super frustrating. Like there's been a couple of games already where I'm like, do I really want to get in the car and leave and go down there? Would I rather prefer to be here just sitting here watching football the rest of the day? Yeah, I probably would. And but like you're just hoping that they figure it out, or that they care as much as everyone else does in Sacramento. And that's the biggest thing. I think there is a misunderstanding about this team. And, like, do they have like structural issues and all that? So yeah, there's all kinds of issues going on here, but I do think they care. Like walking in there and talking to them, they care. They're very frustrated. They aren't happy at all either about what's happening, and they're trying to figure it out. and they thought they figured it out, and then they lost their way again. And like they have the, oh no, here we go type mentality, and that's the wrong mentality. And I don't know how you get through it without changes. And that to me is where you have to start. You have to start bringing in, you got to start trading some players and shaking up the roster just to get a different vibe in the building. Because as of right now, this place it's feeling a little wonky.
And that's the one thing that that's one of the many things that I do get a little bit concerned about when I talk about changes to the starting lineup and maybe moving Zach LaVine to the bench and seeing what you have with some of these younger guys is what James just said. That vibe is still in the building, and it's probably worse. Because now you've got now everybody, everybody is collectively and understandably very unhappy about the way this basketball team is playing. But now you have an individual unhappy because of the way his situation is being handled. And it's not a question of whether Zach LaVine is better than Nick Clifford. We know the answer to that. It's not even a question. The statement is this basketball team is going nowhere. We know what Zach LaVine is. That doesn't matter to us anymore. We need to see what Nick Clifford is. And Zach will still play. I'm not suggesting you send Zach LaVine home. I don't agree with that. Play him. You just play him in the reserve role and someone else in the starting role, or some form of change in the starting lineup. You don't want to do Zach. I think it makes the most sense to do with him. Use DeMar DeRozan.
That starting lineup, the way that they got clubbed every single time they stepped on the floor last night, that was an embarrassment. And
you were very clearly furious about that. It was very, very obvious.
You've got to change the starting lineup.
Yeah. I think you're right, because the same thing happened in the third quarter.
Precious instead of Eubanks.
Precious is, and that maybe that's the answer. Precious I've been really happy with the way Precious Chua has played for the Sacramento Kings. And we'll have 2 more days to talk about it because we're not going to have any games to discuss. So we appreciate you so much for being with us. If you're listening on the radio, we'll run it back. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with the Insiders on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320.
Vamos, see a collective.
Excellent. Hit the thumbs